Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Was a Genius and Found Out the Secret, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Day 3 of the second test. With their Heaven Scroll burnt and in possession of the Oto team's Earth Scroll, Team 7 went searching for a team they could get a replacement Heaven Scroll from. Ever since Naruto had regained consciousness after the fight, he had attempted to contact Kyuubi to find out what was happening to his body. Naruto became increasingly worried when Kyuubi either refused to respond or was unable to respond to his questions. Finally, Naruto decided to see exactly what was wrong, and called a stop in a clearing next to the river. Naruto formed a quick hand seal Kyuubi had taught him that allowed him to enter his mind and visit whenever he wanted. When Sakura saw Naruto slump to the ground unconscious, she became worried and rushed over to his side, but was held back by Sasuke, who shook his head. Sakura looked to Sasuke for an explanation. He's fine, he's just checking his subconscious mind for any damages. He was taught that technique by a medical specialist when he was in the wave. Sakura nodded and watched Naruto, silently praying he would be okay. Meanwhile, when Naruto awoke, he was horrified at what he saw. The regular yellow sewer with yellow pipes was still there, however, there were a mass of pulsing purple pipes that outnumbered the yellow ones by 3 to 1. Naruto strained his ears and just heard a growl from the cage's direction. He ran to see what the problem was, twisting through the maze of corridors before emerging into the light, which faded to reveal the cage. Naruto noticed that Kyuubi was panting from exertion. So you finally turned up, eh kid ? Kyuubi, why haven't you been responding to me ? The Kyuubi lowered itself onto its haunches. I have, but it seems you never received my replies. That cursed seal is disgusting. I'm sure you noticed those purple pipes on the way here ? Naruto nodded. The corridors represent the major chakra paths, while the pipes represent the minor ones. That cursed seal has created completely new chakra paths that gorge themselves on the major ones, draining you of your chakra when you try to mold it and puts incredible strain on your cells. It seems that the people who don't have a large chakra reserve have all their chakra eaten during the initial stages, and that causes the person's cells to self-destruct from the strain. You have no idea how close you were to dying, even with my help. If this keeps up, you will never be able to use my chakra again, because all of it is devoted to keeping the cursed seal at bay and healing the wounds you get in combat and the wounds this seal is causing. Kit, here's a warning. Until you can find someone who can put an overlaying seal on it, do not use jutsus. The only way I can think that would give you an edge would be to directly convert your stamina into speed and strength, like that green spandex wearing freak does. Naruto nodded as he took Kyuubi's advice in. He practiced stamina increased speed and power before several times. The speed and power it granted were unbelievable, but it drained stamina at a horrifying rate, even for him, as Sasuke had deemed him, the stamina fiend. The most Naruto had managed was 25 minutes before he collapsed, and that was with Kyuubi's help. Without it, he guessed he could last or so minutes before exhaustion set in. Naruto broke his chain of thoughts and looked at the Kyuubi. Hold on for another 2 days. I'll get Kakashi-sensei to fix it. Fine. Now get out of here, I hate being seen in this state. Naruto raised an eyebrow. The only one seeing you like this is me, and I personally don't think any less of you for it. The demon lord raised its head and stared at the boy in disbelief. You don't think I'm weak now ? Naruto shook his head. No, I would take an inhuman amount of power to keep the cursed seal at bay and heal me at the same time. Now, I'm leaving before your head inflates and this room shrinks. The Kyuubi stared at the boy and laughed as he retreated back to the real world. Kyuubi mused to itself. He's not like the rest of those pieces of trash. Not by a long shot. Naruto woke up to find that Sakura had started a fire, and Sasuke was brining back fish for them to cook and eat. Sasuke saw Naruto sit up and rub his eyes. Sasuke skewered the fish with a stick and put them against the fire to let them cook. He sat on the opposite side of the fire from Sakura, next to Naruto. Sasuke turned to his adopted brother with a look of concern on his face. What did you find ? Naruto returned the serious gaze. If we use jutsus, I use it or you use your Sharingan, we're pretty much stuffed. Sasuke nodded slowly. I had a feeling it would be something like that. Naruto smiled. I did find out that we do have one thing going for us though. Sasuke turned to Naruto with interest. What would that be? Naruto smiled sadistically. We may not be able to mold chakra, but we can still use stamina in its raw form. Sasuke had been training with Naruto during the stamina-induced speed and strength training. Remembering this, he smiled. It's not all bad, I guess. Naruto laughed half-heartedly. Imagine the look on that green freak's face when he sees it. Sasuke smirked. Priceless. They both shared a chuckle as they pulled one of the fish off the fire, now that they were cooked, and began eating. Sakura had no idea what they were talking about, but then again, she'd found out early they were able to make obscure references or hint at things that would leave anyone else with no clue, but the other would pick it up flawlessly and run with it. She'd gotten used to the fact that she was the odd one out of this group. She could tell, even if she refused to believe it, that they would both be content if they could get rid of her off the team. After they had finished with their fish, Naruto looked at Sasuke, who nodded. They turned to Sakura. Sasuke spoke for them. Sakura, we're both still hungry, so we're going to go catch another bunch of fish. Give me your canteen, we'll fill it up while we're there. Sakura handed her canteen to Sasuke, and the two boys left to go to the river. However, they were only using the ruse they were still hungry to get away from her. It was true, but it still provided an excuse to talk privately. Once they emerged from the foliage, they sat at the river bank, talking about everything that had happened so far, while skewering any fish stupid enough to jump out of the water to a tree with a thrown kunai, which was apparently a lot of them. After what they deemed was as long as they could stay without making Sakura worried, Sasuke got up and filled the canteens with fresh water while Naruto retrieved the fish. Once they finished, Naruto jumped over the river to land next to Sasuke with their kunai and fish. He sighed as they began walking back to camp. Sakura's a total nuisance. It seems all she's good at is using that abnormally large brain of hers to answer theoretical questions and use the most basic skills in the most predictable manner. Sasuke nodded in agreement. Naruto had only said his true feelings for his female teammate in Sasuke's presence when he was certain Sakura or anyone else was out of earshot. Naruto had very bad experiences with giving his opinions to friends, as he found the next day, the person he had talked about cornered him with a group of friends. If they were male, they'd beat him. If they were female, they'd cuss him out. He'd quickly learned that Sasuke was the only person in the entire village he could really trust to keep secrets. Sasuke also felt the same way about Naruto. It was one of the core parts of their friendship. Everyone else was not to be trusted, because even after multiple chances, they all screwed up every time. They were brought back from the prospective memories when they saw that a ninja was standing in a very imposing position over Sakura. Both boys noticed it was Kabuto. They took an offensive stance and charged in, however, Kabuto stood up and smiled. No need to attack me, you two. I was actually stopping Sakura from opening the scroll. They looked to see that Sakura was indeed beginning to open the scroll. Sasuke sighed and Naruto growled through clenched teeth. Can we really not leave you alone for 10 minutes without you getting into some sort of trouble? Sakura looked at Naruto and tried to apologize. I don't want to hear it. Give me the scroll. Naruto took the scroll out of Sakura's hands with more force than was necessary. Naruto turned to Kabuto. Thanks for that, Kabuto. Kabuto smiled warmly at them. No problem. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. By the way, Kabuto, what are you doing here by yourself? Are your teammates nearby? Kabuto shook his head and explained what his team had planned. Originally, we planned to separate. I was charged with recovering the other scroll while my teammates would head to the tower. They would also grab a set of scrolls from other teams who came close in case I returned empty-handed or without the scroll we needed. Sasuke nodded. It was a decent plan, providing you could beat 3 other genins by yourself. Kabuto smiled at them. Since I'm here, would I be able to ask you guys for escort to my teammates? Naruto smiled. What's in it for us? Kabuto rubbed the back of his head and smiled sheepishly. Well, I managed to get a second heaven scroll before I found the earth scroll we needed. Sasuke, Hmford. Deal. Let's get going. Kabuto led the way to the tower. However, Naruto called for a stop. They looked at him expectantly. He closed his eyes for a moment before opening them. Straight ahead is a large area surrounded by concealed chakra. It's very faint, but I can feel it. The only thing I can think of is an area genjutsu. Sasuke nodded. I felt something was wrong. That makes sense. Kabuto looked at the tower before turning back to his escorts. You're right. The tower should be much larger by now, but the genjutsu is warping it. We should go around it. They nodded and shot off in a different direction, much to a group of hidden mist nin's chagrin. Within several hours of tree jumping, they had reached the base of the tower. Kabuto smiled and pulled out the heaven scroll, handing it to them. They heard rustling in the bushes next to them, and they tensed before Kabuto's teammates stepped out. They looked at the scroll Kabuto was giving Naruto and looked back at Kabuto. The one with the clear glasses frowned. Kabuto, what is the meaning of this question mark? Kabuto smiled in his usual friendly way. Well, I happened to find an extra heaven scroll before I found an earth one, and as a trade for them escorting me here, I gave them the extra one. The one with the black glasses nodded. That's fine. However, Sensei's expecting us. You know he doesn't like to be kept waiting. Naruto smiled. Thanks for your help, Kabuto. We'll see you in the finals. Kabuto smiled and waved at them. Take care. With that, Kabuto increased his walking pace and caught up to his teammates and they entered a door of the tower. Team 7 took the one next to them, and took out the scrolls. Naruto handed one to Sasuke and they looked at each other, nodded and ripped the scrolls open. The main part of the written seal raised and smoke emitted from the lump. Sasuke knew exactly what this was. Naruto, these are summoning scrolls. Get rid of them. Naruto and Sasuke threw the scrolls on top of each other on the floor in front of them. The smoke increased in volume before it exploded into a cloud, revealing their academy teacher when it cleared. Sakura was the only person who was happy to see him. To Naruto and Sasuke, he was just another person who couldn't be trusted. Iruka smiled at him, pulling a watch out of his pocket and opened it, checking the time. He sighed before snapping the watch's lid closed again and putting it back in his pocket. Congratulations on passing. I knew you could do it. Naruto wanted to know why Iruka had appeared. Iruka-sensei, why were you summoned? Iruka smiled. Chunins are required to meet every team that passes the second test. I was lucky enough to be chosen to give you the message. Naruto nodded. Sasuke smirked, making everyone look at him. I see. Since these are summoning scrolls, what would you have planned to do if we had opened them before we got here? Iruka smiled and turned around to collect the scrolls. You're as sharp as ever, Sasuke. Iruka picked up the scrolls, showing them to them. As you have guessed, this part of the exam tests your mission completion ability. So if you had broken the rules and opened them prematurely, we were ordered to knock out that team until the second exam ended. Sasuke smirked again and looked at Sakura. Are you glad now that you didn't open it? Naruto joined Sasuke staring at Sakura who was sweating bullets, making a silent thank you to Kabuto. Sakura decided to try and get the attention taken away from her by pointing to the inscription on the wall. Oh, sensei, what does that inscription on the wall mean? I've read it but I don't understand it. Iruka smiled, turning around and looking at it. That was the second half of my mission, to explain what that means. Read it. It's the principle Hokage-sama wrote that you should keep in mind as a chunin. Heaven in this text refers to the head of a person, and earth points to the body. If you do not possess heaven, gain knowledge and be prepared. Say for example if your brain was your weak point, you should study and prepare for your missions. If you do not possess earth, run through the fields and seek strength. So if your weakness is your stamina and strength, then you should train yourself every day. If you possess both, and dangerous missions will become safe. It can even become easy. Sakura pointed to where the missing letter was on the inscription. Then what's that missing letter? Iruka smiled. It's the letter that symbolizes a chunin. The human letter that was in the Earth Scroll goes there too. The survival mission you took part in these last 5 days tested the basic abilities of the examinees as a chunin, and you guys completed it. A chunin is a commander class. He has a duty to lead his team. Deeply inscribe into your heart the importance of knowledge and strength in missions. Never forget the Chunin principle, and go on to the next step. That's all I was ordered to tell you. Team 7 nodded in understanding. Aruka smiled and waved to them. I'll catch you guys later. With that, Aruka puffed out of existence, leaving Team 7 to go to the central hall, where they found every other team that had passed was mulling around. They also noticed that all of the examiners, Junins and even the Hokage was standing up the front of the room. Anko turned away from the circle of Junins and faced the Genin. Her voice rang out from every corner of the room, indicating she was using a PA. Alright, line up in your teams, we have an announcement to make. The Genins lined up. The Konoha ninjas saw that the entire Rookie 9, Team Guy and Kabuto's team, as had the Oto and Suna teams had made it. They turned back to Anko as she cleared her throat. First of all, congratulations on passing the second test. We will now have an explanation on the third exam from Hokage-sama. Everyone listen well. The Hokage stepped forward, cleared his throat and began. The third exam will begin, however, before that, there is something that I want to make clear to all of you. Several people in the room knew what was coming next. Kabuto's team was some of them. Naruto had a fair idea, but he kept his mouth shut. It's about the true purpose of the exam. Why we do a joint exam with the allied nations. Naruto and Sasuke knew exactly where this was going now, but they still decided to shut up, mainly because of the constant pain they got from their seals. To maintain good relations with the allied nations, and to heighten the level of the ninja. Do not let those reasons deceive you. This exam, so to speak, is really just a replacement for war. A lot of the Genin gasped. Tenten decided to question what this meant. What do you mean ? If we go back into the pages of history, the current allied nations now were in fact bitter enemies, fighting for the right to rule. To avoid the massive waste of military power that is the result of war, they agreed to localize the fighting to one area. This was the beginning of the Chunin selection exams. Ino still didn't understand. What ? So this isn't for Chunin promotions ? This exam is indeed examine those who are worthy of the Chunin title. But on the other hand, it is also a place where ninja fight and carry their country's dignity. In the third exam, feudal lords and famous people from varying counties who may be potential clients are invited here as guests. Feudal lords from countries with hidden villages and ninja leaders will see your battles. If there is a significant difference in power, the strong country will be flooded with jobs. If a country is seen as weak, their jobs will decrease, and at the same time, countries are able to show how their village has grown, and posse's excellent military power to the adjacent countries. In other words, they can put foreign pressure on them. Kiba obviously still didn't get it, and proved it by questioning the Hokage further. So why do we have to fight with the risk of losing our lives ? Naruto sighed mentally. No wonder he doesn't get it. His dog has brains that rival his. Naruto looked to the Hokage as he had a fair idea of what speech the Hokage would use to answer it. A county's power is the village's power. The village's power is the shinobi's power, and a shinobi's true power is only manifested in life or death situations. How true that is. Naruto knew if he managed to get this cursed seal at least suppressed, and he was put into a life or death situation, he felt sorry for his opponent. He tuned back into the Hokage's speech. This exam is also a place to show off the ninja power of one's country. Since this is an exam where you fight with your lives on the line, it has a meaning, and your predecessors have fought and dreamed of being in the Chunin exam because of it. Apparently, no one had any more questions. However, Gaara was obviously impatient. I don't care. Tell us the details of this life or death exam. The Hokage nodded. Then I will begin explaining the details of the third test, but... The Hokage was interrupted by a Junin who body flickered in front of him. Excuse me, Hokage-sama. I, Geku Hayate, the judge, will explain. Please do. Geku slowly stood up, not turning to face them. It's nice to meet you, everyone. Everyone, before the third test, there's something I want you to do. Fight in some preliminary matches to see who gets to progress to the main matches. Most of the Genin started murmuring to each other. Sakura wanted a further explanation. Sensei, I don't understand. Why can't we just progress to the main matches with the remaining examinees ? Geku coughed again, and looked over them. It may have been that the exams were too easy this year, or you're all exceptional genins, however, there are far too many of you left. The time of the feudal lords and other important people is precious, and we cannot afford to waste it with endless battles. Therefore, only 10 or less people are allowed to enter the main matches. According to the Chunin exam regulations, we are required to hold preliminaries to decrease it to a suitable number. We are also limited on time, so those who do not feel well and wish to quit, please raise your hand now. You can do so without hurting your team, as from now on, it will be one-on-one matches. The preliminaries will begin immediately. Would anyone like to quit? Sasuke and Naruto were stealing the determination to keep going when a particularly bad pulse from the seal went off, causing them both to unconsciously grab their necks. Sakura noticed this. Sasuke-kun. Naruto. Sasuke saw that he and Naruto were thinking the same thing. The time intervals between the pain spikes was getting shorter. Sakura saw where they were both clutching and guessed what the problem was. Sasuke-kun, Naruto. You should both withdraw from the preliminary matches. Both of their eyes widened at this. Sakura pressed on. Both of you have been acting weird since that Orochimaru guy beat you. Naruto, you're acting more like when you fought Zabuza and Haku. The bruises hurt even now, right? Please. Please stop. I'm afraid. Anko, Ibiki and the Hokage began discussing what they should do with the two. The suggestion of forcing them out of the matches and surrounding them with Anbu escort in isolation when Kakashi butted in. Neither of them are the sort that will listen to you that easily. They both have backgrounds that give them a stubborn will to try their hardest, after all. Anko got pissed off and started chewing Kakashi out for his lack of seriousness at the situation. Stop fooling around. I'll make them both quit, even if I have to use force. The cursed seal reacts when they try to mold chakra and it will try and extract power from them. It's a forbidden jutsu that undermines the affected person. It amazes me that they're both able to withstand it. A normal person would be dead. Anko turned to the Hokage. Hokage-sama. Sakura still hadn't let up trying to make them quit. Neither of you are in any condition to fight. You should just. Both of them turned to her, glaring at her despite the pain. Shut up. I knew it, Sasuke whispered to her. Just be quiet. Sakura couldn't take the hint. You've both been bearing this pain the whole time. Naruto tried in this time. Sakura, learn when to take a hint and shut it. Sakura still didn't get it, and decided to go to the next level. Whatever you say, I'm still going to tell the teachers about it. Sakura started raising her hand, but she stopped when she saw Kabuto had already raised his own. The Hokage looked at him. What is it? I quit. Everyone stared at him and Geku flipped through the clipboard's paper, stopping at a certain page. Your Konoha's Yakushi Kabuto, right? Okay, you can leave. Kabuto turned around and walked through the lines towards the door. As he walked out the back of the group of genin, Naruto stopped him. Kabuto, why are you quitting? Kabuto turned around and smiled at him. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun, but I'm exhausted of chakra. I'd rather quit now while I'm still in one piece than face off against someone and be taken out of here on a stretcher. Naruto sighed. Good luck next year, I guess. Kabuto nodded. Good luck to you too, Naruto-kun. Just then, both Sasuke and Naruto unconsciously grabbed their necks from the pain spike. Geku turned back after having a short chat with a few of the other Junins and the Hokage. Will anyone else be quitting? Sakura started raising her hand, however, both Naruto and Sasuke grabbed her hand and brought it back down. Sakura gasped, but Sasuke continued to glare at her, as if daring her to try and raise her hand again. Be quiet about this seal. Sakura started tearing up again, but shook her head to clear the tears. Why are you both acting so tough? One don't want to see you suffer anymore. Naruto wanted to butt in, but as much as he hated to admit it, Sasuke had far more experience when it came to angsty speeches, so he let him continue. It doesn't matter to you, Sakura. You're just being nosy. Sasuke and Naruto dropped her hand, and she made no move to raise it again. Sakura looked at them questioningly, begging for a reason. Sasuke provided her with one. We told you before, we're both Avengers. To us, this isn't just an exam. We don't care about being Chunin either. Sasuke and Naruto both had a glazed expression covering their eyes, their faces showing they were deep in memory. Sasuke continued. Are we strong? That's all we want the answer to. Both of us are going to fight the strong ones, and those strong guys are all here. Sasuke and Naruto broke out of their memories and glared at her. Sasuke finished off the speech. Neither of us will even allow you to take that away from us. With a cough, Geku caught their attention. No one else made a move to quit, so Geku pointed to one of the panels on the back wall. Said panel slid up to reveal a display screen. Then, let's start the preliminaries. It will consist of one-on-one matches. In other words, it will be like real combat. Now that we have exactly 20 people, we will have 10 matches. The winners will be able to progress to the third test. There are no rules for engaging in combat and you will fight them until they die, are knocked out or admit defeat. However, if I decide the match is over, you will stop immediately. The electric bulletin board will choose 2 names at random from the participants. Without further ado, I will start the selection for the first match. The screen flashed completely yellow before the names of the people flashed over the board's top and bottom half with incredible speed. In between the names was a permanent VS symbol. The names stopped with a beep, revealing the first match was between Uchiha Sasuke and Akadu Yoroi. Naruto and Sasuke smiled. Neither of them had been expecting to get a go right off the bat, but it was a pleasant surprise. Geku turned back to the Genins, coughing again, he motioned the 2 fighters forward. They walked out from their team lines and stood in front of everyone. As Sasuke passed Naruto, Naruto smiled and whispered to him. Remember how we're going to fight? Like I could forget. Sasuke kept walking forward and stared at Yoroi. Geku turned back to the other Genin. The others who will not participate in this match, please stand on the balconies along with your Junin senseis. Kakashi walked purposely close to where both Sasuke and Naruto were standing. Neither of you use chakra or your special abilities. It was enough to know that Kakashi understood what had happened. Sasuke smiled. We've got it covered. Good. However, if the seal manifests during your fight, I will jump in to stop the fight. Sasuke and Naruto stiffened. He wouldn't dare. Would he? Kakashi continued walking with Naruto and Sakura up to the balconies. Geku coughed. Are both fighters ready? They nodded, and Geku raised his hand. Then the first match. Begin. Yoroi's hand began glowing with chakra and he charged Sasuke. However, Sasuke smirked and disappeared in extreme speed. This caught everyone's immediate attention. This was no normal speed. This kind of speed could only be gained in 2 ways. Years of harsh physical training, or pumping pure stamina into your muscles to increase speed and strength. Both options had their merits and disadvantages, but the disadvantages for the latter were far greater than the former. Not only would it eat at your stamina at an incredible rate, it would also put incredible strain on your body, equivalent to Lee's secondary lotus. The effects would take some time to begin showing, however, Sasuke had no intention of letting this fight get to that point. He appeared behind Yoroi and punched him in the small of the back, sending him flying. This had happened in less than a second since the match had started, and everyone was amazed. Sasuke pressed his advantage and charged again, leaving a trail of dust that had gathered on the floor behind him. Yoroi saw Sasuke coming and just managed to duck Sasuke's foot, which would have connected with his head and ended the match immediately. However, Yoroi was now inside Sasuke's guard and pressed the advantage. Yoroi's hand glowed blue again and sprang upwards before shoving his hand onto Sasuke's head. Sasuke immediately could tell something was wrong as he felt his strength quickly leaving his body. Sasuke kicked Yoroi's midsection to get him off, and considered his next move. Yoroi laughed. So, you found out what my jutsu does? Yeah, it's rather interesting. A stamina-draining jutsu. Yoroi chuckled. Exactly. No further words were said as Yoroi charged at him, hand once again covered in chakra. Sasuke decided to take a page from Naruto's book and try a variation of one of his combos. Sasuke disappeared and reappeared right underneath Yoroi, which caught him totally by surprise, throwing him off guard for a second. A single second was more than enough time for Sasuke to begin his move. Sasuke kicked Yoroi in the chin from his crouched position and jumped up to shadow his flight through the air. Sasuke had read about a particular part of a highly adaptive taijutsu combo native to the leaf which interested him. It was called the leaf shadow dance. The possibilities of what to do from here were practically endless, providing you had the originality to do something new with it. So he decided to be original. Yoroi also apparently recognized the move. Leaf Shadow Dance ? Sasuke had formed a new combo on the spur of the moment, and decided to try it. Yup. From here on out, it's all original. Sasuke poked 2 fingers into Yoroi's back to get a center of gravity from which to rotate for his attacks. However, being the annoying bastard he is, Orochimaru decided to toy with Sasuke and activated the cursed seal. Sasuke coughed up blood as the examiners considered jumping in. The fuck, I'm going to lose to this thing. With Sasuke's willpower alone, he forced the cursed seal to withdraw, shocking more than a few people in the audience. Sasuke got his usual smirk back and put his fingers back in place. Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's go. Sasuke brought his right leg around in a sweeping strike, which Yoroi blocked with little effort. Not good enough. Kakashi and Naruto knew otherwise. No, you're not good enough. To illustrate the point, Sasuke brought his left fist in another sweeping motion, much like a lion will when it slashed at its prey. This hit, Yoroi couldn't guard and it caught him full on the face, sending him plummeting to the ground. I'm not done yet. Sasuke landed another few sweeping strikes before he finished it off with an axe kick straight to Yoroi's midsection as he came into contact with the ground, essentially doubling the damage it would have done. Sasuke announced his combo to the crowd. Shi Renden. Lion combo, for those of you who couldn't guess. Naruto smiled. He was absolutely flattered that Sasuke would take one of his original moves and modify it so that to others it would look original. However, this was one of the subtle ways Sasuke would acknowledge Naruto in public, which made it all the more sweeter. Apparently, Rock Lee was getting ideas. That's my. Naruto cut him off. That move does not belong to you or anyone else. The first 2 moves are a very common part of a lot of Konoha shinobi's taijutsu styles because of the huge variety of possibilities you can do with it. In fact, if he copied it off anyone, it was me. Lee was shocked at Naruto's level of knowledge. What he had said was true, however, Lee had never met a person before who used it apart from himself and his sensei. Said sensei had a few words to say. Naruto-kun, your fires of youth burn brightly and are an example to us all. We should all take an example from Naruto-kun and bask in the springtime of youth. Guy turned to Naruto, hoping for some input. However, the input he got was exactly what he was hoping he didn't get. Did you say something? Guy's eyes widened in disbelief as he clutched his hands to his head. The room suddenly turned pitch black, and only Guy was surrounded in a blue spotlight. Oh my god. The room returned to normal brightness and everyone in the room was staring at Guy. Everyone. Guy seemed to take no notice and turned to Kakashi. Kakashi, did you teach Naruto-kun your annoyingly hip attitude? Kakashi was actually reading his copy of Ica Ica Paradise, and looked up after this sentence. Did you say something, Guy? Guy face-faltered, but quickly recovered. It seems we now both have rivals, Lee. We must work harder to overcome our difficulties in these times of trial. Guy-sensei, your words inspire us to live out our springtime of youth to the fullest. Lee, your words bring a tear to your sensei's aching heart. Guy-sensei, Lee. Guy-sensei, Lee. Everyone became aware of a constant rhythmical banging usually associated with bone-hitting hollow metal, and turned to see both of Lee's teammates banging their heads against the railing in time with each shout of a name. Naruto was interested with this, so he walked up to Tenten and tapped her on the back, causing her to startle out of her head-banging trance. What are you doing? Tenten looked at him sadly and recounted her tale. We have to put up with this regularly, so both Neji and I tried to find ways to block it out. Even earbuds didn't work, but then I started hitting my head against something solid when they degraded to calling each other by the names. Surprisingly, the quick jolt of pain manages to block out the voices for the second it takes to call each other. Naruto was laughing up a storm mentally. He saw that the heir to the branch family of the Hyuga was also doing this. The Hyugas may be bastards, but not even I would subject them to this on a daily basis. The fox seemed to agree for once. This is worse than anything I've heard of either Ibiki, Anko or Orochimaru doing combined. Just them, both Guy and Lee flung themselves into each other's arms and started crying rivers. Naruto started backing away cautiously, hoping not to set him off. Holy shit. Do you know any sort of rare incurable disease that gives people bowl cuts, superbrows, makes them wear green spandex and scream about hip attitudes and the springtime of youth? Question mark. Naruto heard a sigh in the back of his mind as the QB began. I ever had, I would make sure to destroy them and everyone they passed the disease on to. Whatever it is, it's not natural. It's even scaring me, and that's saying something. Naruto was brought out of his inward conversation when a kunai came whizzing past his cheek and landed at the front of Lee and Guy. Everyone turned to Anko, who looked very peeved. She glared at them. Would you two both shut up? We're trying to get these fights over with. They both decided shut up as they noticed everyone was staring at them warily. Geku coughed to catch their attention, and pointed to the screen. We will now decide the next match. The screen once again flashed and began scrolling through the names. The next match was unexpected. Uzumaki Naruto vs Inuzuka Kiba. By now, Sasuke had limped back up to the crowd and joined his team. Naruto could tell that the pain intervals were becoming far too frequent for his liking, and Kakashi seemed to notice this. After your match, Naruto, both of you are coming with me so we can fix that problem. They turned at him and glared. No point in glaring. If we leave it for much longer, it might do something irreversible. Naruto sighed and jumped down, which caused a shudder to go through his body. Kiba had no idea if he was lucky or unlucky, and this showed on his face as uncertainty. Naruto took advantage of this. You're lucky in a way. I can't use my chakra, therefore no jutsus. However, that leaves me with taijutsu. Geku coughed and brought his hand down in between them. Second match, begin. Kiba bent down and formed a ram seal, saying his technique mentally. His claws started lengthening, and he sped off. Just as Kiba was about to strike, Naruto disappeared just like Sasuke had. Kiba was nowhere near prepared for this and tried to compensate for the lack of a target on the end of his fist, which threw his balance way off. Naruto took advantage of this and appeared behind him, kicking him in the mid-back. Kiba stumbled and received a series of lightning-quick jabs and kicks from all directions. They weren't exactly powerful, however, they were fast and frequent, which more than made up for it. Akamaru decided to join the fray and Kiba took a chance to make a roll to the left towards his dog, which jumped onto his back and barked before Kiba announced his technique. Jujin Bunshin. Akamaru turned into an exact copy of Kiba and they charged at Naruto from different directions. They jumped into the air and began rotating, turning into something resembling a grey tornado. Garchuga. Orochimaru decided to intervene again and set of Naruto's cursed seal, freeing him from the pain. The Junins once again prepared to jump in as they saw the marks spreading over Naruto's face. However, Naruto started to grit his teeth, emitting a barely audible growl, which quickly morphed into a howl of primal fury. The seal started retreating, just like it had with Sasuke, and Naruto jumped out of the way at the last second, leaving Kiba and Akamaru to collide with each other before they had a chance to stop. Both of them were knocked out of their jutsu, and Akamaru's henge was even dispelled. Kiba slowly got up and took a step forwards, but Naruto used a lot of his quickly depleting energy to charge at Kiba, driving him into the nearby wall into near unconsciousness. Naruto was panting heavily, and stared at Kiba. Use your jutsus with forethought, or they'll be used against you, Barker. Naruto wobbled and fell to the floor, only to be caught by Kakashi's shin. Naruto looked up at him. Come on, we're going to get you two fixed up. Naruto nodded weakly and Kakashi poofed back up to the team's position and then poofed out of the room, leaving everyone else to watch the matches. In some dark and scary back room, both boys were surrounded by a pair of concentric circles with kunai embedded at certain points. Kakashi had just finished painting the last of the kanji in blood up Naruto's back. Both lines of kanji centered around the cursed seals. Kakashi looked at his handiwork, nodded and stepped forward. This seal technique utilizes your will powers as its source. Should you ever doubt or question your strength, the seal will temporarily break and allow the cursed seal to activate. They both nodded in understanding as Kakashi formed a quick chain of hand seals and placed his hands on both boys' necks, which made them stiffen up. Fuuja Huin. The area flashed white and both boys screamed in agony as the lines of kanji slowly worked their way up Naruto and Sasuke's bodies in wave-like motions. Finally, the last of the kanji disappeared under Kakashi's hands and he let go to reveal another seal had surrounded the cursed seal. Both boys looked at him, then each other and fell forward, unconscious before they even hit the ground. Kakashi smiled and he heard a sinister laugh behind him, and turned to see the silhouette of a man. The man stepped towards him so the small amount of light in the room revealed his sandaled feet, which were ghostly white. Kakashi could sense the absolute aura of death coming off him. There was no mistaking who this man was. You're Orochimaru. Orochimaru emitted a little bit of purple chakra and stepped into the light to reveal that it was indeed him. It's been a while, Kakashi-kun. I have no business with you, however, I have business with the boys behind you. Kakashi straightened and glared at Orochimaru, not that it had any effect, but it would at least hide some of his fear. Why are you after them? You're lucky because you got what you wanted already. Kakashi stiffened and let out a muffled gasp. You didn't have that a long time ago. Kakashi lowered his head slightly, trying to hide his anger. Orochimaru pressed his advantage. That Sharingan in your left eye. I want it too. Uchiha's PWs, that is. What is your purpose? The recently made village of sound is mine. You understand if I just say that, right? Kakashi hemmed with confidence he didn't really have. What a stupid ambition. Oh my. That was blunt. But to accomplish my ambitions, I need pieces to become my arms and legs and accomplish things for me. So Sasuke and Naruto are two of those pieces? No. They are the supreme pieces. The ones taking the exam right now are merely sacrifices. Little did they know that one of said sacrifices was completing his role now, and had just had his arms blown off from the clogged pipes in his arms. In the back room, Orochimaru took several steps forward, before Kakashi readied the Reikiri. Don't get any closer to them. Even if you're one of the legendary Sannin, I can sacrifice my life to kill you. Orochimaru just laughed at the gesture, which made Kakashi suspicious. What's so funny? What you say and what you do not agree with each other. Nani? There is no point using that seal. You know, right? They both have hearts that will seek power no matter how dark it is, as long as it will let them accomplish the goals. They possess that kind of disposition. They are avengers. So, you took advantage of that. But neither of them will. Eventually, they will seek me out. Orochimaru began turning away and walking off, and Kakashi let the Reikiri die down. Seek me out for power, that is. Also, you said that you could kill me? Try. That is, if you can. Orochimaru sent off a large wave of killing intent to prove his point. Kakashi stiffened at this and began shivering as Orochimaru walked away. Sacrifice my life to kill him? Am I mad? Kakashi stood up and put both boys over his shoulders, taking them to the hospital. After the last rather anticlimax battle of Chuji rolling around in his meat-tack form, and Dosu from the hidden sound punching the ball of flesh as it was stuck in a crater, causing Chuji to deflate and fall unconscious, the winners were called forward to pick a number out of the box Anko was holding. The last two numbers left were 1 and 4. They gave Naruto 1 and Sasuke 4. The matchups were decided and the Hokage told them about the final test and that they had a month to train and rest before dismissing them. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.